So he cries both, on both sides of it. And the first time he sees her, it's daylight, and when he kills her to go back, it's night. So I think the book does a better job of calling attention to it and contrasting what's going on.
So after he shoots the bicycle girl, we cut to commercial. Come back, and Rick is driving. He's on the highway, on the radio, trying to contact anybody on the radio. Please respond, please respond. I'm driving towards Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. Cut to a campground full of other people. This is a new scene, a new group of people, among which is Rick's partner, Shane. We're introduced to a girl, an old man with a hat, a woman. There's a boy in the background wearing a Science Dog t-shirt, by the way.
Go Science Dog.
And the old man says, you know how to run this thing, boy, come in here. And Shane runs in, grabs a microphone, and starts talking. They can hear Rick, but Rick cannot hear them. And the woman says, he said he was going to Atlanta. They don't realize that there's a problem with Atlanta. We need to go out there and warn people to stay away from Atlanta. Shane says, no, it's too dangerous. Well, this obviously upsets this woman. She gets mad and walks off. And Shane starts to follow her, follows her into the tent. They're talking about it. You can't go off like that. That boy needs you. You need to be strong for him. Then they go in, they kiss each other. The boy walks up to the tent. Mom? They part real quick. Shane walks out. He says, she's inside, go on in. And she comes out and she says, listen, I'm fine. Mom's not going anywhere. We're good. Cut to the inside of Rick's car. He's looking at a picture of himself. And of course, it includes the woman and the boy we just saw. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, Rick's buddy, Rick's partner, best friend, just kissed Rick's wife. So this brings the conversation that they had in the car with each other while they're eating burgers back full circle.
And now we all knew that was coming, but I can't wait to find out to hear from some of our listeners who might not have read the comic. What did you think? Did you see it coming? Did it hit you hard? Were you expecting it? What were your reactions to that scene?
Yeah, and in that scene, Laurie's name was never mentioned, nor was Carl's mentioned. But we know that's who they are once it cuts to the scene of Rick looking at the picture of the three of them.
The funny thing about the whole Laurie scene, which I guess I can say now, when she has that moment where she's kind of complaining and yelling at Shane about his leadership and whatever, and kind of storms off, I immediately thought of Jim and the Pamp who left the voicemail for the show. Just thinking to myself, well, they're going to start hating Laurie again real quick in this show because they've certainly made her kind of like a strong personality type, I would say. Plus, she's messing around with the best friend, and we talked about it a little bit. How much time has really passed at this point?
As TV viewers, we don't know.
Well, what we can go by is, and some of this might be reading too far into it, but that's what we do.
The dead flowers.
You got flowers, and you have like his hair and beard growth. He didn't come out looking like a caveman when he woke up.
I would say a couple of weeks is a really good guess.
Right. Either way, it's too early.
Yeah, she has not been mourning for 8 months, basically.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah.
It's funny. I read the book. I'm pretty much caught up trade-wise on the book, and I never stopped thought about it until I was watching this episode. Even if it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, if he's in bed and he's had no food and no water, how is he still alive?
And my thought is that because you have all that military stuff right around him, that hospital might have only gone under several days earlier. Like, even if the outbreak happened 3 weeks ago, there might have been hospital staff and military staff there protecting that area as like a triage unit or something like that for an extended period of time. That's the only way I could reconcile it.
I got over it pretty quick. It's not enough to make me go, bash it or anything. It's just something that kind of stuck out in my head. And it was just kind of funny that it took the TV show for me to really bring that home, even though I've been reading the book for as long as I have.
And what's up with these zombies? That could never happen.
yeah, exactly. I found it much more unbelievable that the horse was alive and healthy, and that his family is the first group of people that he comes in contact with. Coincidentally, I found that much more harder to believe than that they're actually zombie, takeover.
And speaking of the horse, Brad.
Yes. At this point, we cut back to Rick, and his car's run out of gas. He's carrying a gas can. He's walking up the driveway to this house because he thinks he might find some gas here. He's calling out to the people. Obviously, nobody's answering. He gets close to the house. He looks through the window to see what apparently reveals itself to be what I took to be a murder-suicide. There's a guy sitting in a chair with a shotgun between his legs. Half of his head is gone. On the wall behind him is written, God forgive us. It looks like it's written in blood. There's dead people on the ground, so it looks like he killed them, then he killed himself.
What I think is more messed up is he killed them, took their blood and wrote on the wall, and then killed himself. That's messed up.
Maybe at this point they had become zombies. Maybe he killed them for that reason, and then he.
I guess.
Well, if that was the case, maybe he would have written "God forgive me."
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So let's go with the murder suicide.
Yeah.
So he's obviously disgusted about what he sees. He walks outside. He sees a horse. He gets a bright idea. You can almost see the light bulb going over his head, and he saddles up on the horse and rides off. Cut to commercial. Right? Wasn't there a commercial there?
I think so.
There is now.
Then we get one of Jordan's favorite shots. We come back to that great shot that we saw in the trailer of the highway leading into Atlanta. Go ahead, Jordan.
I was going to say, and this shows once again the scope, where you just see him at first in the road, and then it just kind of broadens up and pans up, and you get to see the other cars and the train and the city and just the whole thing. It's the poster for the show. It's most likely going to be the DVD cover just because it's the iTunes art right now. It's such a great image, so iconic, and it just kind of gets across the message of the show just in one static moment.
Again, it hits home that felt to me more like a movie than a TV show. When you see that kind of scene, that epic and that large scale, wide shot like that, very, very cinematic.
Yeah, you're not seeing that on the 8 o'clock show on NBC.
Right.
So Rick makes his way eventually into downtown. Again, it's completely deserted. Roadblocks everywhere, abandoned cars, helicopters. He rides past a bus. There's a cool shot of him riding past the bus, and a couple of zombies are in the bus, and they kind of sit up and get up and walk. He freaks the horse out. He says, it's okay. Of course, there's just a couple of them. Nothing we can't outrun. Now, I gave one of these zombies a name. I'm going to call him Buster because he was on the bus. He walks off the bus. He's wearing a suit and tie and a purple shirt. He's kind of got long black hair. And the only reason I named him is because I have a feeling we're going to see this zombie more than once because we see him later on near the end of this episode.
Yeah, he's definitely a star zombie. I was going to think of him as the Green Day zombie. I don't really know why, but he just made me think Green Day.
That was one of the things I was going to say. That wasn't portrayed, and obviously it's a lot tougher in a static, two-dimensional medium, but these zombies seem to come across a little more intelligent than they do in the book or even in other mediums that we've seen zombies.
I felt the same way about these zombies being more intelligent, even back to when Dwayne's mother was jiggling the doorknob and stuff.
Yep.
Or even the first zombie we see who picks up the teddy bear.
Right.
They felt like Romero zombies to me, though. That just kind of the sense memory, they just do what they always did. That's why they're sitting on the bus. Where else would they be? They always sit on the bus.
And that one dude was, chilling on the sidewalk out in front of the house.
It seemed a little more than that to me because they seem to be a little more alert and reactive than, they're not just reacting to noise and sound. It's like almost like they were cued to get up and move. It just seemed very subtle, but a little more like I said, out there than I've seen before. And I think it's an interesting touch. Again, for me, it was a great way to help differentiate this from the book.
All right, so Buster watches him. I like calling him Buster. I think it's funny. It makes me laugh, so that's what's important.
Maybe it'll catch on.
Yeah, Buster watches him ride off. As he's riding, Rick thinks he hears something. Turns out he hears a helicopter. He looks up and he sees the helicopter in the reflection of some building windows, and he starts, giddy up, riding towards the direction of it. He's, galloping fairly fast down the street. He turns a corner to this huge reveal of what looked to me like hundreds of zombies all gathered in one spot. And I'd like to point out, up until this point, we really haven't heard the zombies make noise like, "Whoa." But when you got 100, 200, 300 of them gathered in one spot, you're going to hear it. And so this is the first time I noticed just an underlying, whatever, the typical zombie noise. I thought that was pretty cool. The zombies see him, obviously. They turn around and start following him. He turns around, runs off. Before he knows it, he's surrounded by zombies on all sides. I mean, this happens fast, too. This is like just boom, 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 boom. He gets knocked down to the ground. The horse gets knocked over. The zombies immediately go in for a horse snack. Maybe they're French, these zombies? You said we. That's funny.
We got another comment from our listener, Chris Moses. He said, any animal violence makes me a bit uneasy. I don't begrudge the show for showing too much or anything like that. I just personally could not enjoy it on any level, even though this is horrifying times, the level of violence they're aiming for. So what did you guys think of the level of gore with the horse? I didn't think it was too overplayed. I mean, I kind of wanted to see it. It was one of those things I was looking forward to, and this is going to be so messed up I have to see it since. But what did you guys else think?
I don't think we were meant to enjoy it.
I thought it was pretty timid overall. I mean, yeah, they knock the horse over. Yeah, they're gathered around the horse, and then at the end, they're handing out pieces of it. But we never see like Cyto horse that's ripped open. It's not like
you do a little bit.
Yeah, but
they're kind of blocking because there's so many zombies around.
Right,
They block
right.
action.
And it's not like we see the head screaming out and jumping above the rest of them while they're digging into him. So I thought it was
that would be terrible.
yeah, it was horrible. I mean, the scene of The Godfather was 100 times worse than this. I thought, because I guess in my mind I was able to kind of separate them. We saw the entrails and the innards, so to speak, context of the bigger animal. So I guess it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would or should.
It didn't bother me at all. Again, desensitized and all, but it's a zombie show. I mean, this is what I was expecting. I mean, I wasn't hoping that they would cut away from all the good violence. I didn't know what they'd get away with on AMC, but I'm happy with it.
I could have sworn I heard this.
Cookies!
All right.
Horse cookies sound disgusting.
Now, did they hit the music while the horse was being eaten, or that's after the next part we're going to?
After the next part, they seem to really downplay the music if they had any at all during any scenes with violence, which I thought was a really cool choice. They let the zombies and the zombie moans kind of be the underscore for that. It was a very interesting choice. I liked it.
All right, guys, we're in the home stretch. Rick's on the ground. He's surrounded by zombies. He sees a tank. He immediately crawls over to the tank. Where else are you going to go? Some zombies, they fall down to the ground. They start climbing under towards him. He pops a few zombies with the bullets left in his gun, and he realizes it's hopeless because they're coming at him from all directions. He rolls over on his back and he says, "Sorry, Lori and Carl." He's just about to kill himself when he notices the hatch in the bottom of the tank is open. He immediately gets up, crawls up into the tank, shuts the hatch behind him, and he collapses. He's out of breath. He ends up next to a dead soldier in the tank. Looks over, sees him there, notices a gun in his holster. He reaches over, pulls the gun out of the dead guy's holster. All of a sudden, we realize it's a zombie soldier. He wakes up. Rick notices, obviously, this guy's still a zombie. I need to deal with it. Shoots him. Very loud. Obviously, the sound ricochets big time in here. And I'm wondering, guys, at this point, why did they go to such pains to make us as viewers aware that the gunshot was really loud in this tank and it hurt Rick's ears?
Maybe just to keep pounding in the consequences matter in the show.
I
If you do
think
something stupid, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I think it adds to the chaos and to the sense that Rick is really in a jam. And he reacted. He didn't think. I mean, not that he had a whole lot of choice, but I think it helps. You got chaos on the inside. You got chaos on the outside. I think it was. I thought it was extremely well done.
Yeah, I can buy that. I like that. I like that.
Also, when we get into the next little bit, that I'm sure you're going to get into in just a second, there's the sense of, if you haven't read the book, is this real? Is he really getting contacted on the radio? What's going on here?
So he's recovering from this loud gunshot. He looks up, notices the top of the tank is open. He crawls up out of the tank, sees zombies everywhere. They're all over. They're eating the horse. They're walking all over the place. He sees his bag of guns laying on the street, very much out of his reach. And then we get a shot of Buster. Buster sees him, looks at Rick. I thought that was cool that we see that same zombie again. So that's what's telling me we may actually see this zombie again. And that's why I felt like I needed to name him.
We need to make T-shirts and buttons really fast.
Yes, Buster.
Somebody retweet that immediately.
The zombies see Rick. They start crawling up the tank. He realizes there ain't no getting out of this. He goes back in the tank, closes the hatch. He picks the gun up. He checks the bullets. He sits there wondering, obviously, what am I going to do now? All of a sudden, the radio starts crackling, comes to life. He turns and looks, and a voice comes over the radio. Hey, you. Hey, dumbass, you in the tank. Cozy in there? Rick can't believe what he's hearing. Somebody's out there. He's not alone. Then we cut to the last shot of the episode. Great bird's eye view of the tank and the horse. It's just got the two of those things in the frame, and as the camera moves up, the shot gets wider, and you just see downtown Atlanta just overrun by hundreds and hundreds of zombies.
And this is the last time I say it in this episode, I swear, but I love the scope. Just that slow pull out of here's a little violence, here's some more zombies, here's some more. Holy crap, can you believe we're getting away with this on television? There's like 400 zombies in the frame, and I'm sure some of them are doubled and stuff, but it's crazy. It looks so awesome.
Yeah, it's a great shot. Slowly fades up and fades to black. End of episode. I think at that point is when I started breathing again.
And after 67 minutes, he was all blue in the face. It was terrible.
What a great finish. I mean, cliffhangers. How is he getting out of this? Who's talking to him on the CB or whatever you call it in the tank? And just a great way to end a great show. I mean,
is there anybody who watches this episode to the end who doesn't come back the next week?
Oh gosh, I
I
don't
don't see
know.
how you wouldn't.
Unless you're just repulsed by the level of violence and gore that AMC is getting away with, I don't know how you would not come back.
It's like a great ending.
And I realize that we have to make this disclaimer that, yeah, obviously we love the show, and I think it probably has to do with the fact that this is one of all of our most favorite comic books that's ever been published.
Right,
So,
and I was just about to say, Brad, that it's also the genre. I mean, if you're a big fan of zombie movies and you tune in, you probably loved it. I mean, how many people that looked at the promos and said, "Wow, I've never really ever liked any zombie stuff at all," watched. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a certain level of expectation, and you get what you came for.
I could count the number of zombie movies I've seen on one hand.
Oh, not me.
Do you have a hand with 11 fingers or something?
You have a freak hand, Brad?
I've literally have seen no more than 5 zombie movies in my entire life.
Okay, but you have a comic connection.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I love the comic, so obviously I'm going to watch this, and it's faithful to the comic, and I'm trying to disassociate my comic book self with the TV viewer that I am, and I'm trying to be really objective when I watch the show.
I wish I had 10 fingers on my left hand so my right hand could be a fist.
I wish I had more middle fingers. I'd like to make a request for anybody that ends up listening to this podcast who is a new viewer that has never read the comic. Let us know what you think. Like or dislike. I promise
Yes.
we'll read it, we'll play it, whatever. I'd like to hear the opinions of somebody walking in cold. And I guess if
And
you
please
didn't,
also send us $5. We
Right.
really could use $5.
and if you walked in cold and you didn't like it, you probably didn't go ahead and find a podcast about it to download on iTunes or the Walking Dead TV website. But if there's somebody out there, that just had no knowledge of it walking in, and just give us your opinion.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the unbiased opinion because I think that's a situation that none of us are in. We all are going to bring bias to the show, good, bad, or indifferent, and it's going to be hard to separate that because there's going to be things we know that are going to be coming. There's things that they're going to allude to that we can see, 5 miles down. So I'm in all sincerity really curious for people that like John said haven't read the comic that are just coming to the show and find out what they think, and maybe some predictions or things like that. I think that would be really, really interesting.
And I watched the pilot with two buddies of mine. We're actually in the other room right now, but I can attest they both really enjoyed it, having never read the comics. So, and granted, they both like zombie stuff, but
That's very good to hear.
I want to hear from more people. Let us know.
And I think all of us are. I think we know well enough, each other well enough to be able to say about anybody, in the virtual room that we're in right now, that if we see something we don't like, we're gonna say we didn't like it. We're not gonna be Walking Dead apologists. If something pisses me off about the show, I'm sure they're gonna say something about it.
And if
so
you
far,
don't
it's
believe him,
awesome.
check out his thoughts on Spider-Man in the last few years.
No, stop.
One thing I'd like to throw in before we wrap up or move on, the really cool song at the end as they fade out is Space Junk by Wang Chung, believe it or not. And I'm either going to leave you with that song or Everybody Have Fun Tonight by Wang Chung. I have not decided yet.
It's a treat either way.
I say play the Space Junk. Was it Space Junk? Is that what it's called?
We actually left with Space Junk last episode because I had read some blogs saying what the ending and opening songs were and everything like that. But we can do it again, or we can play Everybody Have Fun Tonight.
Yeah, let's Wang Chung tonight.
Speaking of things we didn't like, and not to harp on it, but one thing I didn't love about the episode, the scene where Rick is under the tank and he puts the gun to his head, he's gonna kill himself, and then he notices the hatch and jumps in, happens way too quick. There's almost no time for you to realize, there's no realization that comes across his face. He just rolls over with the gun to his head and immediately jumps up. I thought they could have dragged that out a few more seconds. But that's like my only complaint.
See, I wasn't sure if that's what they were doing or if he just kind of put his gun up to his head like, oh crap, what do I do? Like he's almost like thinking or something.
Well, he
No,
did
he
say
was
out loud.
definitely-
Out loud, he said, "I'm sorry, Carl. I'm sorry."
No, that's true.
And
Yeah,
he only had one bullet left.
good
But
point.
I think it was just a case where they probably rehearsed it too many times, and so he knew every beat he needed to go through, and so he just did them a tad fast. But it was still a really cool idea. I didn't know tanks had hatches on the bottom.
If that's all you have to complain about, then I think the show has some promise.
Oh, definitely. Not a complaint other than that, and the one thing I said earlier, which is also minor, but so minor I don't even remember what it was now.
I can't wait for next week. Gosh, I can't wait for next week.
All right. So I think we're going to do some reviews real quickly. We had some more great reviews on iTunes. I'm not going to call them 5-star reviews anymore. They all happen to be 5 stars, but I don't want to make it seem like we're only going to read 5-star reviews. So I'm going to read some cool iTunes reviews. Renee, Darth BX, our buddy that left the voicemail, says, great podcast, and the show hasn't started yet. Speaking for those of us who don't have cable TV, this is going to be a great way to get a taste of the show. The panel episode from New York Comic Con is stellar. Can't wait for more. 5 stars. That's very interesting. I have never heard of a person who can't or hasn't watched the show that actually uses one of our in-depth reviews to watch it for them.
I don't think I could do that.
The only thing I can think of even similar is I once listened to a podcast that was like an hour and a half all about the Battlestar Galactica finale before I'd seen any of the show. So it was confusing. I'll tell you that much for sure. But I think this will be slightly less involving angels and Cylons than that show did.
Well, thanks to Renee again for the voicemail and the review. We have one from Peter Roy, or Peter Y, if he's French. If you are into The Walking Dead, and you are like most of us waiting for the show to kick off, this is the podcast for you. Great audio from the panel at New York Comic Con. As an American living in Germany and cut off from most American culture, this podcast has kept me hyped up waiting for the show to kick off. Great podcast. You guys rule. Peter Roy,
Hello,
our
Peter.
first German listener, as far as I know.
Wonder how you found out about the show.
I'm guessing
Internet, probably?
Yeah, the interwebs.
I hear they have that in Germany now since the wall fell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you leave us a voicemail, tell us how you found the show. I'm always curious, just logistically, like how do people find us and how do they get to us?
A review from the Pamp, who left a voicemail as well. Just like their other podcasts, the LOD and Half Hour Wasted, of course, Brad, handle the subject matter with great care and expertise. I look forward to their take on my favorite movies, comics, and shows. The fact that it's a comic I love and a show I'm looking forward to makes it even better. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you, Mr. Pamp. And from Spats33, excellent show. Great podcast by great podcasters. They're making me look forward to the show even more than I already was. I'm sure they'll provide an excellent forum to look more closely at each episode as they air. Real funny story, real quick. Spats wanted to purchase something from the garage sale that we're running and sent me his mailing address, and he is from the town that I grew up in and that I teach in. Small,
How funny.
Small world.
Crazy.
Very.
So that's it. We thank everybody for the iTunes reviews. They're working wonders. We're climbing the iTunes charts every day. We're very close to making a big splash like on the front iTunes page. So if you're digging our stuff, please take 2 seconds in iTunes, drop off a couple stars, write a review. We really appreciate it, and it helps out a lot.
We've had a lot of new Twitter followers coming up recently too. That's I always find that fascinating that
Yeah.
somebody actually wants to read a tweet.
From you or I
Yeah.
or anyone. And like we said, we'd really like to incorporate the tweets later on in the season as we're recording a little bit later in the week and we'll have time to get responses from people that have watched the episodes. Twitter's the way to go. So
Is that our tweeting dead segment?
yes, the tweeting dead. You want to do that sound for me?
What sound?
We did the lost sound last time for the tweeting dead. Okay, forget it.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, at WDTV Podcast is our Twitter. Please follow. Say hi. I'm going to leave you now with Jordan, who is going to do some really big stuff.
Yes, let's get right into our awesome contest giveaway with Media Junkyard Podcast, which you can find at MediaJunkyard.com. All right, I'm now joined by Chris and Robin from Media Junkyard Podcast, which you can find at MediaJunkyard.com. How you guys doing?
Good. Happy Halloween, by the way, or I guess day after Halloween.
That's true, yeah. Well, by the time anybody hears this, will be the day after Halloween. But so we had
Hey, how about November, huh? Sorry. Go ahead.
So we had a contest with Media Junkyard to win. Well, actually, Chris, why don't you list off the prizes for everybody?
Sure. Let me just swivel so I can go see them in the corner of my eye. It's books 1 through 6 of The Walking Dead, so it's trades 1 through 72. A pack of the Zombie Survival Guide flashcards, and a set of Walking Dead word magnets.
Very
And a set of steak knives. Just kidding.
So we had a contest with Media Junkyard where you had to send in a picture of yourself in your best zombie pose. We got a bunch of entries. We just spent some time poring over them to decide which one we like the most. And gentlemen, who did we pick?
We went with Saul.
Saul's picture, very simple, but it was him eating a piece of ham with a very zombie-like gaze in his eyes in a very clean kitchen, and clean kitchen is kitchen points. Ron was very proud of the
Yeah,
cleanliness.
way to go on that house cleaning. That was good.
So not only did he have ham, but since AMC also has ham, we thought it was some nice synergy there with John Ham.
Boom.
Sold.
So Saul, you're going to need to email contest@walkingdeadtv.com once again just to claim your prize, and we'll get that all sent out to you. So congratulations, and thank you to all the entrants. They were all great, and can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, man, it was a tough job trying to figure out who's going to win.
Yeah, there's a lot of great
deliberation.
entries.
Yeah, it came down to the wire, but thanks everybody, and have a happy Halloween. Okay, thanks to the Media Junkyard guys for helping us out with that contest. That was really awesome. We hope you enjoy your prize there, and let's get on to the end of the show.
I wanted those damn books.
Don't you already have them all?
I currently just have the compendium. I've decided to go that route.
I have the first 5 hardcovers, and I'm this close to picking up number 6. And you know what? I have all 12 of the existing trade paperbacks. Maybe sometime down the road, they might find themselves on their way to a listener as a contest prize or something.
Hey yo.
We now have that on tape, so you're going to have to come through.
Oh, I will. I don't need more than one copy of stuff. No, I'm good. It'll be a cool prize I'd like to give away because I think the first 6 or 7, maybe even 8 of them are signed by Robert Kirkman. So it's pretty cool.
Doesn't he do little zombie sketches usually? I guess
He
maybe I
did.
have to ask him.
I believe he did in the. I know for a fact he did a zombie sketch in my volume 1 hardcover, and he did all of those and my trades at once. So I think he may just do like one zombie drawing per signing per person per customer, whatever.
Right.
But I have seen other people's trades with the little zombie heads in them. Yes.
I got in line twice. So it's funny because I had volume 1. I brought it with me. He signed and doodled in it. And then I went to, I guess it was Zeus, Brad. That's right over there. Is it Zeus?
Yeah, that's right. That was at Cape back in 2000, back in 08.
Oh, yeah. So I went and got volume 2. They didn't have volume 3. I was going to get 2 and 3. So I got volume 2, and then he signed and doodled in that, and then sat and we yacked for probably a good 30, 45 minutes or so.
All right, Jordan, I got to go to bed.
Yeah, me too.
Bring it home.
I may just pull an all-nighter.
Well, we hope everyone had a great Halloween. We hope everyone had a safe Halloween as well. And we hope everyone really enjoyed the first episode of Walking Dead on AMC and our first episode-specific episode of the Walking Dead TV podcast. Remember, you can find the show at walkingdeadtv.com.